Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grimflayer back with you and back with the tournament sponsor, Deathrite Ben, for a fair deck final. Another slugfest, another big showdown between Ironworks on Jund and Bobby on Bant CounterTop. So this is probably the closest thing to our our quarterfinal match, Ben, that we could see in the finals, right? And how are you feeling about this one?
Right. It's even slightly similar even to the matchup from before. This one I think is going to be even grindier. This almost gives me like a nod back to Legacy when it had the countertop decks. And I remember like the one thing I'd like to fight against them was an abrupt K deck. So this is like, oh wow, flashback
Yeah,
here. It's
yeah,
but it's going to be a
absolutely.
serious grind fest, I think.
No doubt about it. A value dense and powerful hand here from Bobby, but it's only a one lander. He ponders, does not see a land in the top three, shuffles away, does not draw a land. So right away,
Ooh,
there's a
that's
big fail
scary.
rate. But
Yeah,
he
that's really
finds a
scary.
forest off the top, so we're good. There was another
Okay.
ponder that could have been fired off, but instead we're doing the Sensei's divining top thing, and the other ponder will
Oh
follow.
my. Oh wow. So that's kind of interesting that both there's a little bit of a mirror here because Ironworks a two-lander with no death right, no discard spells. In fact, the only two-mana spell is a Ren in six, but it's a super powerful hand if he can get going. We got Ren, Liliana, Oko, and two Blood Braids.
Yeah, and it looks like the Ren is going to resolve. And Bobby actually saw three lands on top of Ponder and decided to keep. So,
Okay.
yeah, we've got Detention Sphere, which I believe is a one of in his list. Detention Sphere will be able to answer the Ren, sitting on a Mental Misstep, a Quattle, and a Path to Exile as well. Plus, of course, Sensei's Divining Top can do its usual thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
That's
Ren gonna get a little value and maybe force Bobby to answer it. We'll see.
right. Well, it looks like both players, keeping low lands and really powerful hands. I mean, lands seem to be going for both, so we should. This will be a real slugfest, I think.
Exactly.
Got a Thoughtseize now.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Thoughtseize plus land in hand, so we're setting up here for some good stuff. Did you say there was a misstep over there?
There is a misstep in hand, yeah.
Okay, all right,
Right now, I
interesting.
think Bobby's deciding whether or not to de-sphere the Ren.
Okay,
He's hesitating a bit, checking out Ironworks' list, and
sure,
um, we're gonna think this one over. It is a pretty crucial stage of the game.
agreed. So what would your inclination be? Do you think you would spirit?
It's really tough. My instinct is to, but that is most certainly a mid-range versus mid-range and
Uh-huh.
real ban list modern context dependent decision. Bobby
Sure.
chooses not to, and if I were playing this match in the dark, I probably would have not as well. But my overriding
Uh-huh.
instinct again was to answer it before it gets more value. But Bobby
Right,
can beat that type of value. He's got the answer in the back pocket.
right.
Um,
I think he's rewarded because, and I also like. So we drew a second line of the veil. I like Ironworks playing this one right now. So if it
yeah,
gets countered, it's not the end of the world. If it lands, that's great.
sure,
And
makes
it
sense.
also tries to buy time and start fighting its way through, counter spells, etc., to try and land this Oko.
Yep. Yep, we've got the top choice to be made here. We see Counterbalance, Oko, Mystic Sanctuary. It's a very powerful card,
Oh man.
but
Oh
no
my.
permission has been found.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. This I'm a guess that Ironworks pitches a land here because of the Ren. We have the
Hmm.
one in hand, but still. Oh,
Yeah,
see,
to
did
draw the Sanctuary so it can be pitched is the least valuable card in hand right now.
sure,
And yeah, there's that land as you called.
right? I couldn't quite remember, but yeah, he must have activated Ren. Because if not, I would definitely like the thought of down ticking on Ren to take care of the
Yeah,
total.
for sure. And here comes good old Oko.
Oh man, here it starts. We're about to have Oko versus Oko.
Yep.
Curious if he sends this, and if so, where? There's
He's hesitating back and forth, back and forth. I would probably attack Lily and plan to desphere the Ren. But the presence of Oko definitely does change the landscape a whole lot here.
Right. I do think one way or another dealing with Lily is pretty important for him because the ultimate that would do a lot for sure.
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty crippling. Interesting. Start with the Ren uptick instead of killing the Kodal. I think that's a very interesting decision there.
I think there's a lot of merit to it. You're definitely plus wanting Lily for free this way.
Right.
And based on Bobby sequencing, maybe Ironworks can expect that there is a D-Sphere or some other type of card that
sure.
Is pricing them into using that, getting closer to ultimate sooner. There's some scope for that. And is there a Bloodbraid Elf by chance in hand? Or no?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Okay. The other thing is if you are going to Bloodbraid here, which as we see he is,
you're right.
Play blockers first makes a lot of sense.
Right. That's a really good point. Yeah, you're right.
But nevertheless, I think it was valid to consider the downtick. But
sure.
You got Bloodbraid into Deathrite. I've seen Bloodbraid cascade into almost only 1-drops, actually, since I've been in the games from Ironworks I've been watching. So Bloodbraid's been really good, but it hasn't even really maxed out our power level yet.
Yeah,
there's sorry, I was going to say, we do have a Path to Exile in hand. I wonder if this is a spot where it might get drawn out of hand, but...
Sure. Well, it looks like he's going for it. Protect the Oko.
Sure does.
Okay, yep. So, putting a lot of value into keeping this Oko around, for sure.
Yeah, and from a pure, kind of analytical, how was that trade perspective, that's got to feel pretty good for Jund. But
yeah.
at the same time, you can make those value negative trades to keep Oko alive because it's Oko, and he's gonna really reward you for that.
That's true.
We're trying to chase the Mind Sculptor.
Whoa. Whoa, that's huge.
It is huge.
See, that's going to be a kind of a cool standoff in a sense because you're going to have Oko and Jace on one side, and then you're going to have Oko, Lily, and Ren on the other side.
Yeah. We are seeing just, again, the fair deck, kind of the epitome of fair decks in this format, especially the divergent strategies of UWX and BGX.
Right.
There is a little bit of risk to playing Jace, though, unless maybe he would brainstorm and hide the detention sphere on top, which could be an interesting play, because you don't want to lose the D sphere and then be unable to answer an Alting Ren, for example. But we're going to fate seal ourselves with the Jace. So
that's very interesting. So maybe he's banking on hoping there's not discard spell?
I guess so. And we also
that seems like a pretty big loss.
Absolutely. We also saw a chump block from Deathrite Shaman. Not something you see every day, that's for sure. But
so this is a very interesting decision point. We have a second Bloodbraid in hand. There's the... I personally would still want to lead on this Thoughtseize. We got Thoughtseize. Oh, the draw for turn, by the way, was a Dark Confidant. So we've got Thoughtseize, Dark Confidant, Lily Oko, and Bloodbraid.
Gotcha.
So a lot of great options here.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, the only reason I don't think leading on the Thoughtseize is if Lily ticking up feels free for Ironworks, that's a good way to do it. The other thing is if we thought ticking down was better, obviously pinging and ticking down was live here, but you're not working toward it that way. You could also cascade into another discard spell, which is exactly what happens. Man, the bricks do continue to a significant degree off of Bloodbraid. That's rough stuff.
Just doing Jund things, cascade into that empty discard. Been there, done that once or twice.
Yeah, haven't we all? Sad but true. So
in a sense, though, I see the Jace uptaking kind of rewarded here because now that's super high value permanent that's still on the field.
Absolutely, great call, and yeah, Jace is well insulated from a Bloodbraid Elf by ticking up. Now we're seeing some doozies. We got Path, Terminus, another top. Looks like Path will remain in hand when it's all said and done, and the other stuff could get shuffled away.
Right. You know what's interesting about Ice Fang that just occurred to me is like shuffling it back, like you put it back on the bottom of your library, you can fetch it and it's anywhere in there. It draws you a card every time. So Terminus, your own Ice Fang, really doesn't hurt you that much. Like you're happy playing long games.
Oh, absolutely true. And that's also, ensuring your win con to the extent that it is stays in the deck too.
Right.
Definitely really, really nice synergy.
Right.
And all right, after the attack, we've got a second main. Shuffle away the unwanted. Sensei's Divining Top. We see Counterbalance, Dig Through Time, Flooded Strand. I don't know why I'm so surprised that the cards are always so powerful. I'm like, wow, that's strong.
But every time you told me, I'm like, goodness, that's a...
Yeah, it's just...
Oh,
he don't miss.
Right.
Not with this deck.
So the top deck over here was a Tarmogoyf.
Okay.
And there was a consideration to down tick on the Ren, but then he changed his mind. It starts with a Lily uptick. I'm wondering, what do we pitch here?
Yeah, we've got a Path coming in response.
Okay. Nothing to search out of basics. So being that, I was going to say the Thoughtseize, probably being that the card was cast like that.
Yep.
Makes sense. So we do go with the down tick? Okay, that's interesting. With the coast clear, I wonder if he puts Oko down now. By coast clear, I mean in terms of counter spells.
Sure. Yeah, we could see that. There's a Goyf.
To try and protect the Oko, I'm guessing. Let's see. So Bobby's Oko can it trade the food for the Goyf though? Is that how that works? I can't remember.
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
So the down tick on Oko, the trade thing.
Oh, the exchange.
Would he be able to steal the Tarmogoyf, or does it have to become an artifact first? I don't recall.
Let's look it up to be sure.
Yeah. If so, that's a little bit of... So he goes with the two creatures, though. Tarmogoyf and Bob.
We got to dig through time about to get resolved over here. That is obviously
that's big.
Really nuts.
That's huge.
Yeah, so Oko's -5 reads, exchange control of target artifact or creature you control, that would be the food token in your example, and target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less.
Okay.
So the power is the mitigating factor, and we are seeing just like the craziest collection of cards on top for these 7, but it's going to be a Counterbalance and an Astrolabe that get picked from among them.
Interesting, okay.
Opting for things that can be deployed now, and we've seen this play pattern work where it's not like this deck needs to find Counterbalance on 2. It can stick a turn 8 Counterbalance, a turn 10 Counterbalance, and that will still provide enough value and that pseudo prison effect in the mid to late game that it'll be well worth doing.
True.
Of course, Jace still has to activate. Lots could happen.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's just starting to spread more and more must-answer permanents across the board. Just for inevitability kicking in here a little bit here.
That's right. My children are clamoring outside the door. They want to see the match, too. They'll have to watch it later.
Right? I just heard mine go past my door, too. I'm like, no, don't start yelling. Please don't start yelling. Oh, man. Good stuff. So he can kill a Lily here. Yep, I was going to say.
Yep, that's the play. You've got another couple turns of safety before Ren's threatening the ult again.
Right.
Obviously, Ren can ping the Bob, but at this point...
Which, I mean, that's like a favorable exchange for Bobby anyway. I would think he's like, okay, cool, you spent your, Ren to deal with this. I mean, I feel like he probably just doesn't care.
Yeah, in a close game, in the early turns, that would be a blowout. Right now, it's, how many extra has Bobby gotten? Do we even dare to estimate? Can anybody count that high? I can't count that high.
So here's an interesting decision. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the ping of Jace is live too.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that was exactly what I was about to like. Oh, so there's a very interesting decision point here.
For sure. Okay, so counterbalance, revealing snow-covered island Oko will resolve, and we have reached the Oko mirror phase of this game, and we know how those go.
Oh yeah.
Bob's going to get pinged, and the food's going to swing in. Wow.
Interesting. So he wants to clear Jace with. So there were multiple lines. He could have put. I guess I forget the Bob could have blocked. So I was gonna say he could have gone to try to kill the Oko, but with the Bob out there as a blocker, that's not actually an option.
Right. What else does Ironworks have in hand? He's got 3 cards.
Liliana and a Blackleaf Cliffs, along with this Goyf. He's trying to resolve.
Yeah, and we know it will. But the last card in Bobby's hand is a Terminus, so he can clean up a bit. And I guess he can't quite hardcast it, except yes, he can continue that island was outside.
Right. No, there they are, of course.
Speaking of which.
Right. Okay. Topping. Searching. What is he looking at? What's he looking for?
Ponder, Prismatic Vista, Sensei's Divining Top. So, I mean, we've certainly, the window for hardcast Terminus, I guess, is passed, and that would just kind of be a 1-for-1, basically, but I was wondering if there is some scope to hardcast Terminus and make an Elk after the fact and start trying to get ahead on the board that way.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily call myself great at navigating Oko mirrors because it just kind of makes my eyes glaze over the absurdity of the value generation and the sameness of everything that doesn't interest me as much. So.
Right. It's like almost gives me a headache if I try to like actually figure out. Which is the perfect line here.
So yeah, a lot of people would probably love to piece together the best Oko line, but for us, it's like, you know what? This card is banned. Why are we thinking it?
Let me go back to piecing together the best Liliana line and
exactly. I love the Liliana line. That's always so fun.
Speaking of,
one's here, but he's going to go for the Edict, and that's probably the thing I would have done too.
Right. So we try to clear away this Oko, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be pretty big for him. For our work side here, if we can get this Oko off the field.
Yeah, that's huge. So, again, Terminus can still clean this up, and Counterbalance is going to do a lot of work, but he's got 3 Planeswalkers resolved on the junk. That is just a lot of Planeswalkers.
Well, it's going to show what it's taking to be able to fight back into this is a lot of resources.
Exactly.
Ponder, that's a really good card here.
It is. He sees some weak ones, though, and he's going to shuffle them away and then top deck a land blindly, and that's the concession. And, again, we hardcast Terminus there, but I guess you don't beat Ren and Oko and Liliana.
Right. Yeah, it's like the Terminus, you take the Time Walk a little bit there, but he's just going to have another Elk immediately next turn off of the food token.
Exactly. And, Oko is relentless.
Yeah, exactly.
Relentless. So we're seeing Bobby go over to the drawing board here, consulting Ironworks' list, looking at what Ironworks might side in. Bobby hasn't made changes yet. You can report on the changes Ironworks is making if you want, Ben.
Oh, yeah. He brought in a Boil, and then he sorted by converted mana cost. So I'm going to have to speculate a little bit. I don't think the Duresses were main, so there are 2 Duresses here. What's been cut?
Yeah,
some bushes have been cut. He cut the Jitte. I think the Jitte was main. So just a little bit more discard and the Boil. Not a whole lot of changes.
Cool. Bobby's made a few. He's looking for Celestial Purge. Monetary Mentor is an alternate win condition and helping go wide with value. Veil of Summer. Actually trimmed a Path to Exile, interestingly. You would think that Path is a good card against junk, maybe from the modern perspective, But I actually
Right.
think that's kind of a heads-up play. Just trimming one, not moving away from them entirely.
Right.
Um, and then he's still thinking about a couple other maybe
Right.
options.
Well, from his side, I think like Bob is a fairly must answer. There are only two, so yeah, trimming one totally makes sense. But keeping some in,
Yeah,
like you do definitely like Bob. You will definitely want to path Bob.
for sure. We've got a pithing needle that looks like it's involved here too. And given the Super Friends finish that Jund got over the line with, you can understand that very well.
Yeah.
Maybe losing a mental misstep. And a couple other cards still need to be cut.
Okay. Some last second trimming there.
Yeah, we lose a Jace, and is he thinking about a top? Yeah, it sure is. So there we go. It's probably not correct to bring in Little Teth, but he could play a role here, I think, especially on the play. Bouncing that turn 2 Bob or even a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, shutting off Bloodbraid Elves Cascade, and just being generally
relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe a little hard to protect, but then again, maybe not, depending on the jump progression almost entirely, right? So something to think about, but Bobby is certainly 10 times the control player I am, so
I'm not going to try to really play control, so I just have to speculate, like, well, I would think this, but I can't really say.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just verified here, so the Durestas were indeed in the sideboard, so he brought those in. The 2 pushes that were main, he pulled those. The Umazawa's JK that was in the main, he pulled that.
Yeah.
Um,
And also,
not a whole lot.
He's taken them all to 6 as well. The one good thing about Jund is, the classic trap, it's not even a trap, it's not even wrong, but the classic thing that happens is the mid-range player sides out their removal, the control player sides in Monastery Mentor, and then it's hard to answer the mentor. But in Ironworks' case, he's got Abrupt Decays, and those are very necessary in the matchup broadly. So he's going to have the outs to mentor as a matter of course, doesn't need to make that hedge deliberately. Bobby's got a functional hand that can sculpt itself with a couple Astrolabes. One has hit the field, a Ponder, a Terminus, and a Path, along with a couple lands.
Yeah, that's a good start. I mean, you've got some, good cantrip, start to generate value and such. On our work side here, well, obviously we had a Deathrite to start. There's a Dark Confidant or Tarmogoyf to follow it up, and a Bloodbraid Elf, and 2 lands in hand. So
okay,
it's just missing the discard spell. That was it.
Those turn 2 Bobs have proven very fruitful for Ironworks in the matches I've seen. A second Path has been found off Astrolabe, though, so we won't be lacking for answers here on the blue-white side of the table. Yeah, definitely. Shaping up to be another real game. Definitely looking like a real one.
Right.
Tarmogoyf is the lead here.
That he leads on the Tarmogoyf over the Bob. I wonder if it's, like, hoping that it eats a Path?
I would have to guess. I would have to guess that is exactly what's going on. And, I got to say, it just felt so wrong. I love Deathrite Shaman, and I know it's NBL Modern, but it felt so wrong to see Deathrite Shaman get cast off a Blood Crypt. This is why we need Deathrite Mystic. We need the fixed one.
Yes.
The only mono-green creature, it only makes green and black. It'd be great. It'd be great for Modern. I'm telling you.
I'd absolutely love it. I'd play it. Oh, man.
Ponder is showing, I think, some respectable cards. Snow-Covered Island, Icefang Quattle, Dig Through Time. And it looks like we're topping the Flying Snake.
Sure. Another interesting thing here with the Ponder is it plays really well with fetch lands in addition. So say you want one of the cards, but the other 2 are garbage, and it would be dead draws. With the fetch lands, it's like, okay, sweet, I got to keep the good one and ship the 1 or 2 that aren't good.
Yeah. Ponder is a nutty card. And in this sense, although I like Ironworks' play of leading on Goyf, he's almost a little bit punished for it because now the path has not been necessitated. And now it's treated nicely with Tarmogoyf at value positive. And but we do see my first ramped out T3 Bloodbraid Elf of the tournament anyway. And
man.
So lots and lots going on here.
That was a pretty sweet cascade too.
Yeah. No question about it.
So now there's a pretty good tax on these paths.
Yep.
This Goyf is going to grow rather quickly here, and Bob is pretty much answer.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
The Goyf is about to get traded with.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. I
Bobby
forget
does
about that,
have the
actually.
tools to weather this assault.
Right.
We could always blindly top deck into a Terminus after this as well, but there is no way to set one up at the moment.
Sure. I forget about the death touch clause on that creature.
Oh
Sometimes.
yeah, this card invalidates Goyf pretty hard, unfortunately.
Yep. Yep, you're right.
Oh,
Oh,
whoa!
wow.
We're trading with Bloodbraid.
That's interesting.
Yep. I
Huh.
mean, I guess just committing to pathing the Goyf then.
Feels that way.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, unless we're missing something, I guess. Unless I'm missing something, 'cause I'm looking at his hand. So
Right. Now,
yeah,
did you
I
say we
think
had two paths or one?
yeah, he has two, which is
Okay. Okay.
definitely doable. But
Right. So that would do Bob and Goyf that way, but that's where and we have an Inquisition over here now. So we got a Bob,
yeah,
plus a Meyer, and an Inquisition. So this will be very interesting.
I should point out, just for the sake of full clarity, that the Goyf was only attacking for two there, if I'm correct. So
Okay. Okay.
if the path is coming, then that saved another point of life. However, like we said, it does kind of commit him to the path.
Sure.
A couple forces of negation have found their way into Bobby's hand.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is a good spot for a planeswalker on the Jund side, and therefore a uh, good time to have a couple forces.
Yeah. Top deck was a land, so we got two lands and a Bob. I mean, it's interesting to me. So if you in the regular modern, a lot of the time, siding out forces versus the John deck is correct. You hate
Yeah,
the 2-1 versus the discard deck, but here with so many, I mean, all the walkers and stuff, obviously it's not as obvious of a yup side these out. And that's just interesting to me that he chose to keep them in versus a discard deck.
no question about that. I think you nailed it. I think in modern you have that incentive. Here you have it a little less, but it's still there. And to your point, Bobby actually hovered them briefly. I think he
Okay,
considered trimming
considered
one
it
and
right.
ended up leaving it in. We did a lot of edge trimming in this matchup, something
Sure.
of which I heartily approve. So
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
another Bob. The threats keep coming,
Right.
and Bobby's found a Quattro. He's going to main phase it, looking for something proactive here.
Something else that just occurred to me also in the missteps really protect against the discard a whole lot more too. So that makes
Oh yeah,
it a little bit more rewarded to keep the forces in it. Now that I'm looking at one in the yard, I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
yeah, exactly.
Dream.
Ironworks says I missed 2012.
Yep, I saw that too. Oh man, water grave. Yep, that makes sense. So yeah, Bloodstained Mire in hand. We're gonna see. We got a double draw here. This will be interesting and a bit crucial. We don't want it to be double lands. Okay.
Ooh,
Right
Ren
on
and
six.
Six can ping.
Nice. The secret card is Abrupt Decay, so that's pretty interesting.
Yes. The card that Bobby's drawn off Quaddle has been Jace the Mind Sculptor as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're going to see Force of Negation to protect the Quaddle, which in turn will protect the Jace. That
Right.
is
I agree with that completely.
Yep, me too.
Interesting.
And the other card is Terminus, so Jace can do his Jace thing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Wow, that's.
and Abrupt Decay though beats Ice Fang here.
I wonder if you hold it though, because if it was me, I kind of want to hold that for Oko or like until the turn that you're about to die type of deal. That you have to
Yeah,
kill
I think
Oko
if
or
he had
whatever.
hand information here, he'd snap it off. But I think in the blind as he is, I think holding it's
Uh-huh.
pretty correct, and that's what he'll
Right.
do. So that misstep working in a significant way to not only prevent getting the best card taken, but to preserve that hand information.
Right.
A breeding pool off the top makes this Jace brainstorm even more essential to Bobby really staying in this game than it was before.
Right.
So,
Right.
more setup cards, more selection cards. We're seeing an island, a top, and a ponder.
Okay. That
And the
ponder again, it's pretty sweet. Because without the fetch here, that's where your shuffle effect can come from.
Exactly.
Pretty
But for
huge,
now, he wants that terminus on top, so that's what he'll do.
right? Wonder if there's a interesting right away. Wow, I was gonna say because there's a consideration to. Well, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. But there's a consideration to
Seeing what he
setting
draws.
both of these at Jace. There's a consideration to waiting until a shuffle effect comes in, and then you decay the top.
Yeah,
So
you know, I
refreshes your
think I
response.
like it though because he wants to be mana efficient here too because he's
Sure.
going to draw 2 cards plus potentially activate Death, right?
Right.
So just clearing the way is
Right.
good, I think.
No, I
But
think he's rewarded. It was just like interesting for a consideration point. I thought
no
of
question
options.
about it. Yeah, no question about that. So now he can attack and ping the Jace even if he wanted to hold up Deathrite's activation.
Right. I think I like that line.
Might be what we're about to see.
It's looking like it since he's not.
Yeah,
Excuse me, moving with Death, right?
yeah, for real.
Okay. Oh, I
Jeez,
guess that
Dark
was him.
Confidant is just kind of taking over No Banlist Modern.
Oh man, we got to have Dark Confidant in a thumbnail somewhere here.
Oh yeah, absolute.
That's awesome.
It is.
Love
And
to see
here's
that.
that permanent, so it's a nice
Oh
catch
yeah,
up
that's
card. No doubt about
right.
it. What's that last card in Ironworks' hand?
Oh, it's a Blackleaf Cliffs.
Okay.
Yep. That's Terminus is huge though. Getting taking care of the Bob, not
Yeah,
drawing the 2 cards a turn here is quite. It's a big deal.
absolutely.
And then the manipulation with the top here. This is I can see this swinging back here.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Bob's right here.
Yep.
On there. Okay.
Oh, Breeding Pool counterbalance Oko.
Oh my.
He will not
Oof.
shuffle.
Yeah, yeah, I bet not. That would if he did, I would just be like, oh no, I think that was a misclick.
Exactly. Jeez, Oko. Boom.
Wow.
Yep, that was nuts.
Oh
I
man.
was just thinking that, the Ren is going to be the thorn, a thorn in his side in a couple different ways, but
Not so
not when you have
much.
this effectively haste threat, which Oko represents in these circumstances.
Oh, top decking the decay. It continues.
Okay.
Dude.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
all
Nice.
right.
Nice answer.
Right. The only the thing is though, we got a top on the other side, so
Yeah, exactly. And counterbalance too. So here comes the soft lock
right.
and the 3-turn clock with this Astro Elk. And we have also
Pressure.
the fact that Bobby's probably on average out top decking Ironworks, but it is close. So
Yeah,
yeah,
inclined to agree. Yep. Bloodbraid? That's a Deathrite Shaman. Okay. Feel like they're pretty low odds that resolves.
yeah, same.
A lot of 1-drops.
Hmm. Oh, but he sees 3 lands on the top.
So if he wants to, he can tap and draw and put the top on top and counter it with the top. So it looks
Yep.
like that's what he's doing.
Hmm.
I was curious if he wanted to do that, if he valued that enough, and it looks like so. He just
I
wants to
think
close this
so.
game out.
Any trade here that the clock is 2 turns. Yep, that's
Right.
exactly what we've got. So
Yeah, the shield's down for a very small amount of time, and he knows that there are no cards in hand. No, graveyard shenanigans that could be activated and such. So it seems like a heads
yep,
up play.
for sure. Well, it looked for a while here like it was going to be a 2-0 to Jund, but it looks like we're now getting a game 3.
Oh, it's a Blackleaf Cliffs. All right, so we've got a game 3 going here.
Game 3 it is. Wow. Fascinating final. Whoever
Right.
whoever wins this has been a credit to the tournament and the format.
Yeah, yeah.
Bobby agrees. He says, "These games, man, these games."
Right. Awesome. That's cool. Oh, so a little bit interesting here. Ironworks did not change a thing. They just
He
kept
just
it, just left the pushes
submits
and
right away. Very
yep,
confident choice.
yep. He likes
Uh,
what he's going here.
Bobby had definitely a few corner case considerations he might be revisiting. Is he
Sure.
hovering the Teth? Is he listening to me? probably not.
Right. I think I actually do like the Tef because it's just another permanent on the field that is a little bit harder for Ironworks to deal with. It slows down some of his stuff.
Yes,
Shutting down Cascade is actually pretty relevant. So it's just
agreed.
another thorn in the side to deal with. So
Yes,
I personally
another
I like
value generating hateful headache.
yeah, yep.
A little worse though on the draw as he will be here. And as always, the
Yeah,
question is it better than what is it better than? I don't pretend to know, but Bobby's
sure.
really running the fine tooth comb here over this decision,
Hmm.
checking lists, seeing what he can trim, and I think at the end of the day, he's just going to run it back.
Okay. No changes?
I'm lagging a little bit,
Oh,
but
okay.
I
Oh,
yeah,
you just submitted.
are we
I don't
okay,
know
yeah,
if
no
you made any
changes.
changes or not, but probably not,
Cool.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think.
we've got a duress in the opener here. The problem is no green mana. So we have two Blackleaf Cliffs, a swamp, Tarmogoyf, Liliana, Bloodbraid,
Uh,
and the duress I mentioned. So
if only he played Arkham's Astrolabe, this would be all solved, right? If only
okay.
Jund had that luxury. Um, this hand is interesting from Bobby's. It's probably
Uh-huh.
not what he wants to see, but it's functional.
Okay.
Double force of negation, terminus, D-sphere, and two basics in effect. So it's the type of hand where you're like, well, mulling against
Mm,
Jund is bad, but we could probably do
right.
better on a lot of sixes, and he will throw it back, and he's rewarded. Three lander, double quattle, mental misstep, ponder, way better, way
Ooh, yeah,
better.
that's a
So with
lot
discipline,
better.
brave mulligan almost, I would say, from Bobby to mulligan against the Jund deck on the play. He is
Right.
rewarded for it. Let's see how it influences the outcome of this game.
I mean, his initial the with the Terminus and whatnot, it was kind of like a six card hand anyway. That
Good
Terminus is
point.
super dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point.
So we ended up keeping a hand with Boil, Duress, Thoughtseize, Oko, and a couple lands here.
Seems like a good one on the whole. And
There's the
the
misstep.
rest will get misstepped. No,
Right.
no doubt of that.
Right, right. Not too surprised. So it's interesting. I almost wonder if maybe like yeah, you kind of want the Thoughtseize to get misstep. I wonder if that is a corner case to have him running the Thoughtseize in first, but
That's a
just for
real
life points.
question. Yeah, but with two quattles in hand, he'll be rewarded for thought seizing over duressing for sure.
Sure, sure.
We see a
Nice.
third quattle in this pile of three plus an astrolabe and another land. There's just like he's just doing the thing. He's just
Yeah,
deploying
that's
permanents, casting
tons of value.
spells, sculpting
Tons
the
of value
hand.
going on there.
Exactly.
Ooh, so the draw is a Liliana, so we're stuck on two lands at the moment.
Yeah, he's got one more turn before that becomes a huge issue, I guess.
Right.
Oh, are we? Because I see Wooded Foothills. I thought you said there was a
Yeah, well, oh, that's all he has
Blackleaf
though.
in hand too, or
No,
no?
no Blackleaf.
Okay,
No,
gotcha.
no, that original hand, he shipped it.
Oh yeah, yeah, got it. I was conflating the two. So
No worries.
Thoughtseize
It just had a
resolving here.
duress. Both of them had a duress, which is probably what.
Yeah, yeah, that's why. So Thought's
Wow.
resolving here. I guess probably taking a quattle, but it's hard to say. Maybe
I take the ponder. It could be
he would.
wrong, but that's what I would go for.
Yeah, because you're just thinking, okay, the quattles are an annoyance and they're a 2-for-1, but ultimately ponder is what could really pull him ahead before I can get my wheels get turning. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and another thing is I'm not seeing a fetch land here. So if I'm
Yeah,
looking at this, I'm like, okay, yeah, they have a bunch of cantrips, but a ponder can find fetch and or some super
yeah,
planeswalker.
yeah. And I mean, either way, no matter what he takes, he cannot cripple Bobby's hand here.
Oh yeah, no. The
I was actually just going to say this. Unless maybe he takes Astrolabe, then he could shut him off of the right colors. But he'd have to get really lucky with all the blind cantrips just getting him in
sure,
there.
sure.
Yeah, I mean
Wow, that's an interesting line.
that was a tough call.
For sure.
We'll see how it pans out. And the third quattle goes into hand. Hey, where's the Plague Man when you need him?
I know, right? That's something a little bit interesting that I saw. Um, I think one of the previous competitors had actually boarded in what do you call it? Ancient Grudge. And Ironworks didn't even look like he considered it.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, just it's kind of a something to think about, I guess. It's like, huh,
for sure. Yeah, it depends on how you perceive your role in the matchup, I guess. You
sure,
know, grudging the first half of a grudge against the Astrolabe actually feels pretty bad because it drew a card and only cost 1 mana.
right,
But then when you flash back another one and you consider how it could strand certain cards at the OP's hand, definitely
right.
an interesting one. But we've got Mental Misstep in hand now to protect the dig through time that's in hand and
Whoa,
to
whoa.
so this hand
Oh
is
man,
really taking shape
it's
over here.
shaping up big time, huh? Yeah. Over here, so we had the Boil, an Oko, now a Liliana, and a Bloodbraid.
That's a lot of good stuff. It really
Right,
is.
right.
Um, so,
This is we've just got a bunch of super value cards on both sides here.
yeah, for real. It'd be pretty bad to play Lily and take her down just to trade with a Quattle and then the
Ooh,
other one
yeah.
will get flashed in. But that
Oh,
might,
this looks like an Oko.
given how powerful Ironworks' hand is. Oh, there's an Oko too. I didn't hear you say that, or I missed it. Um,
Oh,
that's the obvious play over Lily if there's an Oko. Yeah.
right, right, right.
So scratch what I was about to say,
All
and
right.
we see the cantrip in response here.
Searching for a counter, possibly. So
Yeah.
the thing about this too, though, Ironworks fetch shock twice. His life total is becoming a huge concern here. I mean, you've got these, two flyers, and he doesn't know a third one around the corner.
Exactly. He's got those food tokens to gain life, though. So,
Right?
nothing Oko can't fix.
You're not lying. Oh
It
man, this card Broco. Hey, it's Broco is what it is.
sure
Yeah.
is.
So it'll be really interesting if he can top deck a land
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that's
this
what he
oil is
needs.
looking kind of interesting here.
Oil is definitely tasty.
You know what's also interesting about this boil is it blows up his own watery grave.
Yeah, whoa, good call. I had not
Huh,
pictured that in my mind when I was thinking about. I was actually just thinking about Bobby's lands and what he's likely to
sure,
fetch with Vista and take it from there. But the
sure.
boil is symmetrical. It's like playing against Merfolk and they spreading seized you, and you're like, oh,
Right,
I should
right.
still boil, but this sucks.
Yep. Yeah, the first time that I did that to myself, I was not really prepared for it. I'm like, hey, there went two of my lands.
Oh, classic.
Right?
So
It's a little
yeah, looks
rough. We missed a land. We top deck a shaman. This is definitely interesting.
mental
Misstep
misstep.
shaman.
Yep,
Okay. That makes sense.
it does. And we've got a Quaddle to flash in on the end step. We've got the dig through time. It's like I said a couple turns ago, the hand is really shaped up.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Jund can't really afford to stumble like this on the land drops against a
Oh
hand.
no. No, not against a deck like this, especially.
Yep.
So there's the dig. Dig and then Quaddle. You could still Quaddle.
We're taking an Oko. That's a pretty quick
Oh wow.
selection. Other options are a few lands, Jace, another misstep, and a Terminus.
Man, may as well just go big, get Jace too.
Right, that's what he did.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is very impressive.
Man, wow, what a finals here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Pretty cool. Wonder what he leads on. You think he leads on Oko?
Well, he's also drawn Monastery Mentor and Force of Negation, so he can do literally anything here. And he's going to go
Oh,
for the Mentor. He's going to go wide, and he gets to play Astrolabe and double spell that way. And now one of the Planeswalkers can pitch to Force, which Mentor could not. So,
right.
all in all, I think this play makes a ton of sense. It's a very confident, proactive play, too, because the aforementioned life total is a
Yep.
concern for Ironworks. So we've
Big
got,
time.
yep,
I
all of a
like it.
sudden, who's the go wide deck now is what Bobby
Right.
says.
No, I do. I like this. I like the angle because the life total is super low, really
Yep.
low. Yeah, I think that's definitely correct. So I wonder what Ironworks is hoping for here. I mean, I guess a painless land. Okay, so there's a breeding pool.
Yeah,
So is
I
this
mean
like a
that's
last hurrah, try to blood braid, or do you try to create and eat two food, which doesn't do it? Do you elk the monastery mentor? This is a rough position. Oh,
he
okay.
can. I was gonna say he can take this mentor, and then I mean, does he have to? Ooh, is it Lily
Oh, so he's
time?
gonna try Lily. She'll probably
Yeah.
eat, of course, I'm guessing,
Yeah. I can't imagine
right?
Bobby
Like, I
not
don't know
doing
if he feels far enough ahead that he can let it resolve, but that's kind of a risk a little bit.
Yeah. He drew a counterbalance too, which I would say is a pretty free pitch to this force.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what we
Just
see.
counterbalance. Nice. Yep. That makes sense.
It sure does.
Here's another. The non-bow of this boil is just increasing because he
Yeah.
top decked that pool. Like
Yeah, it just got so much worse. Pool
it's
might have been the
probably
worst.
worse for him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's pretty wild.
Here comes Jace. It's not going to be an Oko mirror to close out game 3. It is going to be Jace facing down the planeswalker who has supplanted him as the most powerful planeswalker of all time. And
Wow, that was
Jason's
a
going
good.
to tell the mentor to get back in hand because he can't get cast in Ironworks' deck.
Wow.
What a
Well, it
game.
didn't go to Ironworks' hand, so did it go back into Bobby's hand?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. No, I totally. I was just thrilled by the bounce in general, which I think is a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
player
Oh, that
where
was
it is.
great.
Of course, it goes back to Bobby's hand, which is even
I'll
better.
take that back. That's amazing. All
Yeah,
right, we got to
would have
spin
been
blood right
insult
here.
to injury maybe to put it uncastably back into hand, but obviously have the
Oh,
resource. And the flying squad dispatches Oko. What do we do now for Jund? Is it Bloodbraid time, or what do you
I think
think?
so. We top deck Verdant Catacombs. You can't boil ourselves out of the game, so it's
Here,
Blood Braid and Hope here. Because,
here goes.
yeah, exactly. Oof. Oh, that's brutal. It's a Thoughtseize.
I have to say the Cascades have been very unlucky for Ironworks
Yes.
games that I have seen. Very
The best
unfortunate.
one was just that Bob, I think.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Dang. Wow.
So doing the math here, I guess, on whether the Thoughtseize can be cast, and
Yeah, it's not.
yeah, looks
Yeah, I
not to.
agree with that. What if he plays out this fetch land?
I think no matter whether he casts that or not, what he does with the fetch land, that's just game. We've got a boil in hand, which is not going to catch him up, and
Wow.
even if it was asymmetrical, it wouldn't. We've got Oko Mentor now, Astrolabe in hand.
Oh
Yeah,
man. See, and I think he has lethal, right? So if he bounces, I know it sounds odd, but if you bounce the Blood Braid, you elk the Astrolabe.
yep,
Uh, well, oh, you bounced that, so you got three there. I
yeah.
guess you
I
can still
mean,
chunk the big one technically, so you can live one turn. But I mean, it's not a winning line.
right.
No damnation to top deck or anything.
Pretty much.
Good like. Might be
And then
it
we've
here.
got another draw of Astrolabe.
Whoa, yep, yep. And that triggers that. I forget the tokens have prowess too.
Yeah, the token's getting prowess. Yep.
Dang.
Yep, yep,
All
yep.
right.
What a performance from
Wow. The
Counter.
final guys.
I did say in the pregame show that this was the scariest deck of them all to me. And then
Yeah.
I've seen it has really earned that billing.
Yeah. This deck has looked extremely strong. Even when playtesting before, like it was always super strong. So
Yeah,
wow. Nice. All right.
there it
There it
is.
is.
There's
We
the
got
reveal
him.
video. GG's well played. Wow. Congrats to Ironworks for taking Jund to the very finals of a No Banlist Modern tournament. Well done, my friend. And of course, mega congrats to Bobby. Bobby, you are the winner of Deathrite Ben's pair of Future Sight Tarmogoyfs. Congrats to you. And Ben, congrats to you, my friend, on a well-run tournament. What are your parting thoughts about what we just saw and about everything else as a whole? Anything you want to say, man?
I mean, like that was a great set of games there. I love that it went to 3 games. I always enjoyed seeing when there's some back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat to see John make it into the finals. I think both decks were well piloted, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
been
incredibly
a
so.
great event. This has been awesome to feel
Yeah.
how these guys competed here. This is great.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I have nothing else to add really. I am recording this. We are recording this just a day or so after I posted the pregame. Already, we have a lot of comments on the video of the pregame saying that Eldrazi is still a deck to beat. So it would have been interesting to see if Bobby could have made it all the way if there were some Eldrazi in the field. They would
Oh
definitely
yeah,
put a check on his deck. We have to imagine to some degree, but in a field bereft of Eldrazi, Bant CounterTop looked the scariest to me. It did take it all the way, and yeah, like you said, well done to everybody involved.
right.
Incredible stuff. So thank you out there to everybody watching. Thank you, of course, to all of our participants. And let us know, as always, in the comments below what you think of these tournaments, what you would like to see next. You can suggest themes if you want, but on the Discord, people are very eager to suggest themes. We don't really lack for that. But as far as how the content comes to you, we're listening to your feedback. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, a No Banlist Modern. So this is Ben and I signing off. See you later, Ben, and thanks for hanging out.
See you. Thank you.
You got it.
Oh yeah, I'll mute myself here.
Welcome back to the post-match interview talk show. I am your host, The Fjord. Joining me, the first ever 3-time guest, a very special warm welcome to our special guest, winner of the tournament, Mr. Bobby with the Bant CounterTop. So, how does it feel, man? You took down Jund. You killed the good guys. How does that make you feel?
Bittersweet. Fireworks had a really cool list. It was basically Jund with Oko, and it was really powerful. The match had. I was telling the Grim Flare that the match had some vibes of kind of old school Jund versus Blue White, but obviously at a higher power level. It was just a very different match. I couldn't just take as much of a controlling posture as I normally would because his Goyfs pressure me pretty well. His Bobs generate a lot of card advantage. I had to be a lot more aggressive, and I didn't really ever have time to set up the countertop block. It was really just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, trying to deal with his threats and establish some kind of clock. So I feel kind of fortunate to come out with the win, but it was a really good match.
I gotta be honest, I was not the biggest fan of your deck going into this. But those matches looked really good. Like you had a lot of interesting back and forth. It was really cool. It was also like your list seems so powerful. So it definitely was. It was really surprising to be able to see Ironworks compete on a lot of the different axes with you at first. But obviously at the
absolutely.
end he just couldn't keep up with the divining top and just the Okos and the Jaces basically and the Ice Fangs, the Air Force.
Yeah, the Ice Fangs came in huge in that game 3. The thing about No Banlist is it can be so degenerate that the control deck I built was really focused on interacting early on the curve. 4 mental missteps, and you've got your 4 tops and 4 counterbalances. But I don't really have anything up on the curve. Only a few 3s and only 2 Jaces at 4. So when he's dropping Bloodbraid Elves, which can't be countered by Force of Negation, he's got a lot of creatures. It makes it tough.
Yeah. Well, something
it's not one of those 4-color piles you're used to in normal Modern. That's just like all I'm going to do is draw cards, gain life, generate value.
You're not gonna get it may not have been the most enjoyable to watch, but your list is definitely one I like a lot more than I'm just gonna accrue value because you were interacting, you were trying to stop them from actually winning instead of just saying I don't care, I'm just gonna win. But the other thing is too about that is no, Ironworks, I think, in all honesty, besides the Phoenix matchup that you beat in round 1, I think Ironworks' Jund may have been the one I had my money on for beating you in terms of lists that were probably the hardest for you to beat, just because, like you said, stopping 1 to 3. Like, you don't have anything above really Force of Negation in terms of the mana cost. So it's
Yeah,
like,
you know, in true Jund fashion, it's about 50% against me. But the flip side of that means I'm not actually super favored against Jund either, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it was super fun matchups, man. Huge congratulations. Your list is sweet, and you definitely deserved the W.
thank you, appreciate it.